All right, we're gonna try and just breeze through these because I know I'm taking forever. Man, my glasses will not stay on my face. Okay, yeah, let's get going. Next up, Steel Will Modus. This is an awesome knife. To this day, this is probably the knife I recommend to people the most. If someone's saying, hey, I want just an EDC knife, I don't really have anything specific that I'm using a knife for. I just want to have a knife in case I need one. Modus. If someone asks me, hey, I want a knife that I can use in a dirty, gross environment, Steel Will Modus. Hey, I want a knife that will be, kind of people friendly, won't scare people, Steel Will Modus. I want an office EDC, nice slicey and easy to carry, Steel Will Modus. This knife is awesome. I'm a huge fan of Steel Will Modus. Get off there for a little bit of fuzz. It's on washers, but I mean that doesn't stop from having great action. Great useful blade shape, internal stop pins, very comfortable. D2 and plastic, but it's grippy. Be easy to keep clean. Reversible clip, countersunk liner lock, goofy colors, won't scare people. It's just, I love this knife so much, and I use it to this day all the time. I've really used that knife a lot. Next up, actually, we're gonna go on to this knife here. This knife goes with me everywhere. This is my Victorinox. Can't remember if this is the Pioneer or the Soldier. But yeah, this knife goes with me everywhere, to work, to town, to school, everywhere. And I love it. I really do. Everyone needs a Swiss Army knife of some kind. This one's mine. Really, really enjoy that knife a lot. Okay, next up. There we go. The knife that really kind of replaced my bug out. The Hogue Deca. I do prefer this knife to the bug out. This is a really, really cool knife. Very good value. Your 20 CV and G-Mascus scales, axis lock. It comes in like 140 bucks. Full ambi knife. Dirty in there. Yeah, I love this knife. Really do. Very comfortable. Nice thin blade stock. Very, very smooth. All right, that is the Hogue Deca. Great, great knife. Next up, the Ontario Rat 1. Guys, this knife is a workhorse. It's just a workhorse. And you can't go wrong with the Rat 1. They're classics. That was a lousy middle finger flick. That one was too. Should be ashamed of myself. But great ergos. This one is just an OS 8. My Rat 2 is in D2, but I use this one more. I do like the size of the one. OS 8, it's chemically basically equivalent to 8CR, but for some reason I prefer OS 8 to 8CR. I've had 8CR rust on me. OS 8 seems to be a little more stainless, and I don't know, I just think it takes a better edge. It does not hold an edge very long at all, but I think it does take a better edge, and I don't know, I just prefer OS 8. Not my favorite steel, but I prefer it to 8CR. So, yeah, Rat 1. Everyone knows that knife. Everyone. Oh, here's a knife that I forgot to tell stories about. It's a little Ozark Trail knife. This is another knife from when I was a teenager. This was my rabbit skinning knife. Austin and I, we used to, every winter we were rabbit hunters. We'd probably kill 4 or 5 rabbits a day. And, well, not a day. Like, when we went hunting, on the days that we hunted, it was 4 or 5 rabbits. And, I'd cook them up into stews and fried rabbit. My mom taught me how. And, yeah, this was a knife that I used to skin them. Why? Don't know. But, yeah, it's a little Ozark Trail. It worked. Okay. Next up for most used knives. Let's go here. Kershaw Bare Knuckle, baby. Love this knife. This knife is an instant. It's modern day classic. The Kershaw bare knuckle is so good. Subframe lock, aluminum scales, 14C 28N blade, which they do not have marked on there for some reason. It kind of annoys me, but anyways. Great action, reversible clip. Love this knife so much. This is one of the best Kershaws ever made. And I have used that knife a lot. Great blade shape, great blade shape. Hat head. Next, a knife that I have really, really used a lot. My Spyderco Pm2. This one is an S110V. Now, I mostly bought this knife because, like I said earlier, I accidentally got a PM2 clone when I was very early to knife collecting. I kind of wanted to make up for that, so I knew I wanted to go and buy a real PM2. And so I got the S110V one because blue scales. You guys know me and blue. But, you know, also it's $185, a little more expensive than the regular PM2. And, you know, I kind of wanted to give back to Spyderco as much as possible. When I got it, I wasn't sure how I'd feel about S110V. And I'll say I am terrified for the day when I have to sharpen this knife. But I've had this knife for 2.5 years. And does not need sharpened. In fact, do I have any paper here? I don't think I do, but it does not need sharpened. I've used this guy so much. S110V, it's not very tough steel, so I don't really take this knife and do, you know, tougher tasks with it. But for breaking down cardboard, for just, you know, regular everyday stuff, opening your packages, this, that, the other, whatever, it works great. I have taken it to work with me. And I do work in a hard use environment where I really do value toughness. Haven't had any problems yet. There's one little nick in here, but I just beat the crap out of this knife. And you guys see it every day in my size comparison videos. Well, not every day. If you watch my channel every day, thank you. That means a lot. But, you know, whatever. So, yeah, compression lock. It's a PM2. I know a lot of people are kind of over the PM2, like, oh, you know, it's great, but it's outdated. I love the PM2. I really do. This is such a great knife, and currently I don't have any other versions of it. I did own a regular version, but I'm wanting to get a crew wear version. That's what I really, really want. All right, let's get through this. Since we're on Spyderco, reach across the table. Gosh, what is up with me and middle finger flicking today? This is the Spyderco Resilience. I do prefer this over the Tenacious. This is such a great workhorse, guys. This is a great knife for work. I love this knife a lot. Yes, that is a tip down pocket clip. I do carry this knife tip down. For me, it works better than tip up that way. Snappy action, great ergos, just a, you know, 4-inch blade. It's 8CR13, which, especially at this price, I might get one of the new S35 VN lightweight versions they have coming out. Guys, something's wrong with me today. But just such a great knife. Really, really can take a beating, and yeah, love that knife so much. Okay, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about some Best Tech. Best Tech Paladin. Guys, this is one of the greatest budget EDC knives ever. Ever. You can check out my review on this knife. I gave it pretty high praise, and I do think that this knife is fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, just such a good knife. 2 different blade shapes available. Ergos are really good. D2, G10, all that good stuff. Let's stick with Best Tech. This one's a little more of a premium version. This is the Best Tech Horus. Another knife that I really love. This knife is so comfortable. So comfortable. I ergos on this knife are just outstanding. You do have a choil that you can choke up into. Back here is good. Choked up in the choil is really nice. Great action. See if I can middle finger flick this one. I've been having problems middle finger flicking today, but oh my gosh, yeah. What's wrong with me today? Great looking blade. Good looking knife in general. I've used this knife a lot, and it's a great knife. Great knife. Okay, let's talk about some Civivis and stuff. So first off is a newer one. Riffle. This is a great knife, guys. You know, some people, I can understand why some people might think that I'm a little bit of a Civivi hater. I'm not, I promise. I do like Civivi. I have a lot of Civivi knives. I have said before that I do not think Civivi is the best budget knife brand out there. And I do stand by that. But, you know, they do have several home runs, and this is one of them. The Riffle is so good. 14C28M blade, great action, very slicey, you know, decent ergos. These scales, these micarta scales, I actually dyed blue. They were brown, but it's a great knife. I use it all the time. You know, this is one of those knives where if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what should I carry? And I can't make up my mind. I'll grab the Riffle, and it'll sneak in my pocket. Okay. What other Civivis do we have? Here's one that's kind of similar. The Vexor. This is such an underrated Civivi. I don't hear hardly anyone talking about this knife. It's big. It's a 4-inch blade. It's a big knife. But, man, is it good. It is so good, guys. I love this knife. Great action. In fact, this one has one of the best Civivi flipping actions I've ever felt. See, I tried to fail it there. Can't fail it. When you really go at it, this big old flipper tab, man, it just fires. Great knife. Super comfortable. Big and bad and beautiful. It's a great knife. I love that knife. Okay. Which one is this? Got some of these in pouches. Okay. Talk about that one in just a sec. This is the one I want. You can tell by the weight. Yeah. Civivi Dogma. This knife is so smooth. This knife here was actually the first Civivi that I ever had. And I carried it everywhere. I use this knife for like fancy, you know, like gentleman carry as well as going to work. I used it as, you know, my EDC knife all over the place. This is, I mentioned, this is the copper version. Clip point blade. I love my clip points. The flip on this knife, I don't think it has a good flipping action. It's very easy to not deploy it, but the flicking, oh my gosh. I mean, that was left-handed, but still. Yeah, it's a great knife. So slicey. So slicey. Good in the hand. Great knife. Love the Dogma. Love it a lot. I remember actually one day I took it to work and I forgot to bring my bigger knife that I usually take. This, you know, I brought that one for my small tasks, and I brought a bigger knife for my bigger jobs at work. And I remember being scared that I was going to mess up that knife, and it held up beautifully. So that really made me happy. Next up, possibly my favorite Civivi knife ever. It's discontinued, which is a shame. This is the Statera. This is one of the most comfortable knives I have ever felt, hands down. So good. This is also one of the first knives that Civivi ever did the acid finish on, which I think it looked good here. Got this nice fuller, this flipper tab. I think Civivi has a lot of trouble making good flipper tabs. I think a lot of their flipper tabs are oddly shaped and positioned. This one is just perfect. Great action. This knife is just amazing. Amazing knife. I carried this. In fact, there was a time, I got this before I had the channel, and there was a time where I didn't even think about carrying any other knife. This was literally all I wanted to carry. It's that good. Alright, so we've got just a few knives left, so let's go ahead and just get through them. Sticking with the Civivi theme for a little bit. Don't know if that wind is obnoxious to you guys right now. This is another discontinued model. This is the Corsair. This is an awesome knife. A really awesome knife. And I don't know why they discontinued it. I enjoy this knife a lot. Looking at it, it looks kind of weird. This handle is kind of big and bulgy, but it's very comfortable in use. I use this knife a lot. In fact, one Thanksgiving, I was put in charge of cutting the vegetables and all kinds of stuff. And I had this in my pocket. And, you know, it was clean. Don't worry, it was clean. But I was like, you know what? Might as well. You know, VG10 steel, took it out, went to work for hours, cutting food. It worked super well. And of course, that's not the only time I used it, you know, just for full disclaimer, but that's a memorable time that sticks out to me. So, great knife. Should not have discontinued it. They really shouldn't have. It's a good knife. Okay, we're done with Civivi, but let's go ahead and talk about WE, the parent company. And my most used WE knife is the Minex. This is a ferrum forged design, and man, I just love this knife. In fact, it is still like gritty and gross. Yeah, disgusting. Love this knife. Good ergos, great blade, looks really, really cool. I have used this knife for everything. In fact, my girlfriend and I, a couple months ago, we took a trip to Utah. I'm just road tripping around, and we went to Arches, because you have to go to Arches if you're going to Utah, right? And this is in my pocket. That whole day we hiked Delicate Arch, which if you've ever done that, it can be a pretty intense hike. You know, it was 103 degrees, but had this with me, did really good. Funny story, my girlfriend actually, that day we did not intend to hike Delicate Arch that day, but we, you know, you have the 7-day pass for everything, but we got there and we just kind of got carried away, and so we were hiking around and stuff, and it was really hot, and she was wearing jeans. And she didn't like it, and you know, we left our clothes back at the hotel, and so I made her jeans to capris. But yeah, just a funny story. So love this knife. Used it a lot. Another thing I used it for just a couple days ago was cutting the rattle off of a rattlesnake, because I collect rattles, right? All right. Let's go on and let's talk about, where is that knife? I just saw it. There it is. CJRB. Large feldspar. This is still, to this day, one of my favorite budget knives, one of my favorite knives in general. What a good looking knife. I use this guy all over the place. What I love about this knife is it fits in with my college city EDC, and when I'm here on the ranch working out, cutting rope, hay string, baling twine, opening feed sacks, irrigation tarp, it still fits in. Just such a good, solid knife. D2 Steel CJRB does a great job with their D2. Love this knife. Great action. Just gorgeous. Oh, and the ergos are so good with those contoured handles. Hard to beat. Really hard to beat. I have another CJRB here that I used a lot. It's the Milea. And the reason this knife gets so much use is because, well, it's a fifth pocket knife. I can carry it while I'm carrying something else, and oftentimes I do. This is one of my favorite backup knives. Great ergos. If you go back and you watch the review that I did of this guy, actually at some point during my use for the review, I actually broke the tip off, so I had to regrind that. And I do that in the review, I think. I think I show it in the review. I can't remember. Go check it out. But yeah, a little front flipper with thumb studs. Great action. Really cool looking knife. Even after that review, I continue to use this guy hard and at every opportunity that I get. Great, great knife. Alright. You guys knew Cold Steel had to make an appearance on this list. That's right, Formax Scout. Take this knife to work with me. And if some of you don't know, during the summers I work as a ranch hand for a big ranch here in northern New Mexico. And I would EDC this. And I was not nice to this knife. I'm never nice to this knife. It gets beat up. I chop with it, you know, in addition to regular cutting and stuff. Chop with it, use it as a hammer, pry bar, just do stupid stuff with it. And if you're going to do stupid stuff with your knife, Formax Scout is the way to go. What a beast. What a beast. And the last folding knife that we're going to talk about. Yep. The 8015. This is my, not this one particularly, although I have used this one really hard, but this is the one that I dyed the scales blue. You can also put the 8015 light in this spot. I use these knives really hard. This is my favorite pocket knife, probably. I abuse them. These knives can take a beating. This lock will never fail on you. You know, you squeezing that scorpion lock, there's just no way for it to fail unless the entire knife just disintegrates on an atomic level. It's solid. I love the scorpion lock. It's more fidgety than the triad lock. It's just, whoops, it's a good knife. See if I can do the reverse flick. Hey, there we go. So that's the folders out of the way, but now we gotta get on to fixed blades. So fixed blades I'll just run through real fast because this video has already been way too long, way longer than I expected it to be, so I apologize. First what I want to start with is this little set here. As a teenager, this was my go-to outdoor knife set for camping, hunting, hiking. Simple nylon sheath. I will say these knives have held up really, really well. I mean, everything I did to them just... So, single piece of metal with a paracord wrapped handle. You have your bigger knife here. Definitely needs sharpened. Definitely has lots of edge damage. But holding up fairly well. This little knife, I'll be honest. So this one I used for all kinds of stuff. Like I said, hunting, camping, all kinds of different tasks that you do with those activities. This knife I used for throwing. All I did was throw this knife. And one reason was because when I got it, it did not have a tip ground on. So yeah, maybe one day I'll go and grind a tip on there. Whatever. Alrighty. Next up. Again, another knife that was a favorite for me when it came to hunting. It's a Schrade old timer. I'm not sure what the number on this, what the model of this knife is, little nylon sheath. Got this from Austin for my birthday one year. Great knife, good skinning knife. I found, again, nothing really fancy. I can see that this edge also needs a lot of work. Oh my gosh. But yeah, pretty cool knife. I like this knife a lot. A lot. Full tang. Just has like these little wooden slabs on there for a handle. It was a good knife. Great hunting, utility, all kinds of stuff knife. Next, go to this. This is an Elk Ridge. This is probably the knife that got me obsessed with clip points. This is a good looking knife, I think, still to this day. 440 stainless steel, so nothing special. But my dad got this for me when I was 13 or 14 for Christmas one year. Really special to me. I took this knife everywhere, did all kinds of stuff with it. Coffin handle style, not uncomfortable, nice guards. Yeah, pretty cool knife. Nice looking booby. Again, just a simple nylon sheath. One day I should make a leather sheath for that knife. One day. There it is. Okay. Another Schrade. This one's a bit bigger. When I was a teenager, I did a lot of work for people clearing sagebrush and yard work. And I got this knife for exactly that. And I used it like that every summer. Just beat the tar out of this knife, and it held up really, really well. I do like this knife quite a bit. It's definitely not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's got good memories. I like it. This actually stays in my truck nowadays. Why? I don't know. Just in case, I guess. Why do I do anything? But yeah, neat little knife. Well, not so little. Okay, let's go on to a fixed blade that is little. Neck knife. This is the Crkt Spew. I like this knife a lot. I should review this knife. I can't believe I haven't reviewed it yet. Great knife. Great knife. I do carry a neck knife quite a bit. Not as much as I used to recently, but you know what? I should get back into carrying neck knives regularly. This is a great knife. Very comfortable for such a small knife. Very aggressive, thin, slicey Warncliffe. 5CR steel. Wah, wah, wah. But, yeah. Volts design. It's a good knife. It's a good knife. And the sheath isn't bad at all. So, like that knife. And the last knife for today is... I bet you guys can already guess what it is. Where is the sheath at? Why did I have it outside of the sheath? Ah, there it is. Put it back in the sheath for dramatic effect. Boom! That's right, it's a Cold Steel Srk. Guys, this is a great knife. For 45 bucks, you can't go wrong. This is just such a cool knife. Built like a tank, can take a beating, super easy to maintain, very comfortable, good sheath. I am a big fan of this knife. I'm starting to get more into real fixed blades. You know, not stuff like this anymore. And I have some that I've been using. Got a couple of Condors I've been using quite a bit. Have a Kubi. Couple of bucks on the way. I've been using them, but this knife I have really beat the tar out of. This is another knife that would go to work with me on a regular basis and just get the snot beat out of him. I mean, this knife is a great chopper. This is not a chopping blade at all, but this knife is a great chopper. A really great chopper. So, yeah. And still nice and thin enough to do, you know, regular fixed blade tasks. Good bushcrafting knife. Yeah. Kind of your bushcraft survival knife, fighting knife crossover. Right here, you know, the search and rescue knife. It's a good knife. I like it a whole lot. Alright, and there we go, guys. That is a very super long video about my most used knives. I don't think I'll do an update to this video. This turned out way too long. But if I do an update, I'll skip all most of the stories, I think. But that wind's telling me it's time to pack up. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you made it this far, which I doubt many of you did, go ahead and leave it a like down below. Comment, tell me what some of your most used knives are, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Hiccuping. I've been Gideon. This has been Gideon Stuff. I'll see you in the next video.